Hello and welcome back to another Fantasy Football Scout video and podcast on Euro 2024. The Premier League season has now finished, so attention can fully turn towards tweaking our teams for the next 26 days, whatever it is. June 14th, the tournament gets going. My name is Ed. I'll be your host throughout this summer. You may have already watched my video on how to get going in this. If you haven't already and you haven't made a team and you don't know what you're doing, make sure to go back and watch that video first. I explain the rules, how they're different to FPL. I explain how to download the app and how to log in online and everything like that. You can find me on Twitter or X, whatever it's called nowadays, @_FantasyEd. Please do follow me there. Follow Fantasy Football Scout. And if you're listening on the podcast, make sure you subscribe. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, you subscribe. Put the notification bell. Today, what are we going to be doing? You're asking. Well, today I'm going to predict the Euros. Now, you might be thinking, what's that got to do with me picking my my Euro 2024 fantasy team? Well, it will, because I'll be throwing in little tidbits, little facts, little stats here and there on team's best players and the players I'm keeping my eye on and things like that as we go, so we can see who's going to be doing well, who's going to be doing poorly as we head towards the tournament. Obviously, we've got 25 days of content to fill, so what are we going to be doing? We can't be tweaking with our teams that whole time, so yes, we're going to be going on the UEFA Euro 2024 website and clicking gaming and the match predictor tool they've got, which is quite fun. That's what we're going to be using. Let's get going. So here we are on the, UEFA.com/Euro 2024 website. Again, don't want to patronize you, but you click gaming and you click match predictor. There's a bunch of fun stuff they're doing. Knockout bracket, that's obviously for the knockouts, but tournament bracket. So you can just choose who you think's going to finish where in the groups and just do the bracket and work out who's going to win. Or you can go in depth and do the match predictor and literally predict scores. And it does actually save them on your profile if you're logged in, and you can see after the tournament and as you go through how accurate you were. So you can even enter leagues for this as well. So it's a whole different game, but it's going to be helpful to see who we think is going to do well, who we don't think is going to do well, and therefore what teams to target and things like that. A reminder, if you haven't already, join the Fantasy Football Scout League using the code just below my head here. If you're listening on podcast, you will the code will be in the description. Make sure if you haven't signed up for your team already, click the links in the description. It will take you to the right place and you can sign up. I think there's over 500 people in our league now. There will be prizes. So if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, I've clicked gaming, I've clicked match predictor, and we are there, and you can see we can start predicting the scores for match day one of the Euros. Now, the first game, of course, on the 14th of June is a big one. Germany, the hosts, versus Scotland. How are we going to be predicting this game? Now, on paper, if you were just looking at this and you thought, who's going to win this? You'd probably think Germany are going to absolutely storm this as the hosts. First game of the tournament. They would have been looking forward to it. Massive hype kicking off the tournament at home. Can they absolutely batter Scotland? Well, I don't know. Scotland have had a first of all, they've qualified again for the Euros. They obviously qualified in Euro 2020, being in England's group. They have qualified again for Euro 2024. And just so you know, in their last 12 games, the way I've looked at a form for each team is basically every single game they've played since the start of 2023. And most nations have either played 11, 12 or 13 games since then. So Germany have not played, obviously, any qualifiers because they didn't have to qualify because they're the host. So it's quite hard to gauge how well Germany are doing because they haven't had any competitive football apart from the bit in the Nations League, right? So it's hard to actually look at their stats and go, well, are they just, not kind of putting in 100% or this, that, and the other? Because they've played 13. Listen to this. They've won 5, drawn 2, and lost 6 of them. Now, the teams they've lost to, listen to this. They have lost in the last, 18 months, less than 18 months, to Austria, Turkey, Japan, Poland, Colombia, and Belgium. So Germany have lost to all of those teams, and they've drawn another 2, right? And they've won 5. So the form of Germany going into this tournament isn't exceptional, isn't amazing. But is that because they haven't been competitive games? Is that because they've been testing things out? I'm going to do some more work on that to find out. But first of all, that makes me think that's not too convincing. But then when you look at Scotland have had some interesting results in this qualifying campaign. So Scotland's record is, by the way, from the start of 2023, played 12, won 5, drawn 2, and lost 5. Okay? Now, they've actually not won in their last 7. They did really well at the start of their qualifying campaign. They beat Spain, for example, famously. But since they've qualified and they kind of got over that line, they have not actually won in their last 7. So going into this tournament, again, obviously, I'm saying this all before the friendlies directly before Euro 2024 happen in early June. I don't know who these two teams have for friendlies. It'll be interesting to find out. But anyway, to the point, I'm going to go Germany 1, Scotland 1 to kick off this tournament. Any Scottish fans watching should be happy with that, I think. But I think it's going to be a nervy, tense affair. I don't think Germany are going to run away with it. I think Scotland are going to sit back and want to just get anything on the board, a point against Germany. And there you go. Germany 1, Scotland 1. Because it's quite a tough group, because you can see the second game there for Group A is Hungary and Switzerland. And if you played Euro 2020 fantasy, or even watched it, you'll remember Hungary were in that group of death. It was with, wasn't it? Was it France, Portugal, and Italy or something? It was something crazy, wasn't it? And they got results. I remember they drew against France. I think they drew against Italy, if that was the other one. Someone's going to correct me. Results against big teams. And in qualifying, honestly, I just watched the highlights reel on the UEFA app and website. You can watch every goal from qualifying for each team. And I watched the Hungary one. And obviously, they've got Dominik Szoboszlai is their big player, right? Their talisman. He's on everything. He scored quite a few goals in qualifying. We know him at Liverpool, obviously. He cost £7 million in this game. So I think he'll end up in quite a few teams, by the way, Dominik Szoboszlai, because he takes everything for them. I think he takes penalties as well. So they're playing Switzerland. So what we're going to go for here now, Switzerland. Let's just do their records again. So Hungary, this is all interesting, by the way. Played 12, they've won 8, drawn 4, and lost none. So Hungary, since the start of 23, haven't lost a game. Now, yes, their fixtures have been slightly easier than some. They haven't played any super big teams and beaten them, but that's a winning mentality right there. Switzerland, on the other hand, played 12, won 5, drawn 6, and lost only 1 game to Romania. So I think, again, this suggests draw, because Hungary don't lose. Switzerland get a lot of draws and have only lost 1. I think they're both going to want to get a point on their table at the start of the tournament. I'm going to go, again, in fact, yeah, let's go 1-1 again. I'm going to go 1-1 again. I know. Now, you might say, oh, this is a bit boring, Ed. Boring start to the tournament. But I just think these opening games of these tournaments are usually quite cagey. Everyone wants to make sure they don't lose their first game. And Hungary and Switzerland, I mean, Hungary drew 2 of their group games in Euro 2020, I remember. Kind of, they sit back, they break against these top teams. But against Switzerland, they've got a real chance. So who are going to be the picks? I mean, let's just look at Germany. A lot of players are probably going to have Gundogan, I think, is it going to be £7 million? I think he's on penalties for them. He could be a great pick. Sane, obviously, could be a great pick. There's players like that. We'll do this more in depth as we get closer to the tournament. Scotland, Scott McTominay scored 7 goals in qualifying. I think he was the 4th top scorer in qualifying goals, because he basically plays as a second striker, it seems, for Scotland, and pops up, scored some great goals. Now, John McGinn for Scotland as well. I think he's $6.5 million. He takes penalties, I think, and takes everything for them. He's kind of the heartbeat of their team, it seems. So a couple of good options already with just very little research. Hungary, Dominik Szoboszlai is the only one I can comment on at the moment. Everything seems to go through him. I will do more research into their maybe budget and lesser known picks as we get closer. And then Switzerland, you've got a few options, like I think Amundi, his name is, their striker. I think he was in the top goal scorers list as well for the qualifiers. I think he got 6. Which is the same as, for example, Bruno Fernandes and some others. So he's a good pick. But also Switzerland have got some players like Akanji, who might end up being, I think he's quite good for ball recoveries, which obviously you get points for, as my last video explained. Every 3 ball recoveries, I think you get extra points. So if you can rack them up, you can get lots of points. And then also, you've got players like Shaqiri, who's still playing for them. Yep, he hasn't gone anywhere. He's going to return for another tournament. And who else? Fabian Schär, even, of Newcastle, right? Jan Sommer of Inter Milan in goal. He was popular in Euro 2020. So there's a few picks there to keep in mind in Group A as well. But there you go. There's 1-1 and 1-1. I am definitely going to have to speed up if I'm going to do the whole tournament. What I think I'm going to do on this video is just do everyone's first game, and then I'll whiz through the rest myself and get to the end. But okay, Spain, Croatia. Let's talk about their records. So this is Group B now, which is Spain, Croatia, Italy, and Albania. Spain's record, by the way, played 12, won 8, drawn 2, and lost 2. That's since the start of 2023. This includes, by the way, qualification games and friendly games, right? So I'm not just talking about qualification, I'm talking about both. Now, so Spain, they obviously are in good form in terms of they won the Nations League on penalties against Croatia in the final. So they drew with 3-3 with Brazil. So there could be games with goals. They also, I think, didn't they win 7-something against someone? Oh, I can't remember. We'll get to that. But Spain, looking pretty decent. Good picks could be Pedri or some others. I need to look into that more. Croatia, yes, Luka Modric is still there. He's going to be a pick. Their record, by the way, played 12, won 7, drawn 3, lost 2. They lost in the Nations League final. So this game is a repeat of the Nations League final that ended 0-0 and went to penalties. So do you know what I'm going to do? I think it's going to be the same, 0-0. Now you're thinking, this really is getting boring now, but don't worry, it's not going to continue like this for too long. Italy, Albania. So Italy played 12, won 7, drawn 2, lost 3. They've lost to England twice in qualifying. They've lost 3 in total. They're looking okay. I mean, their squad is typically not the best Italian squad. Obviously, Italy won a major tournament very recently. Their squad isn't as good as it was then, I don't think. One to watch out for, though. They know how to do tournaments, don't they? They've got that. They've got the dark arts. They know them well. But Albania, not too bad. They haven't got a win in their last 4, but played 11, won 5, drawn 3, lost 3. So obviously, everyone's record isn't going to be too bad when I go through this because they have qualified. So there's got to be some wins in their qualification. But Albania, I don't think we should write them off. I don't think this is going to be super convincing win. What I'm going to go for is 2-1. That's what I think it's going to be based on very, very little. And as I say, at this stage, the research we're doing and the effort into looking at records and players' stats and everything, it's just cursory at the moment because not even the squads have been finalised yet, right? So you don't want to start, doing too much until things start becoming clear. And the Premier League season only finished yesterday, right? So for me recording this, maybe 2 days of this might go out tomorrow. Next one, Group C, Poland, Holland, or the Netherlands, Slovenia and Denmark. So Poland's record, played 12, won 6, drawn 3, lost 3. Poland qualified, as you'll remember if you're Welsh, cover your ears and eyes now. They beat you, Wales, in the qualification round or whatever it's called, the qualifier, on penalties. So I think it was 0-0 and it went to penalties and Poland snuck through. So they haven't been super convincing. They've obviously got Lewandowski, who's about 48 now. And they've got some other good assets, and they could end up being a formidable team, but they didn't breeze through qualification. They've kind of stumbled their way here. So will they pick up form? I don't know. Holland, on the other hand, played 12, won 7, lost 5, drawn none. I think that's right, drawn none. But they could be an option for defenders, because they got 4 clean sheets in their last 5. They're playing a Poland team that drew 0-0 with Wales in the qualifier. They've got an aging Lewandowski who's scoring less and less. Do you know what? I think it's going to be 1-0 Netherlands. And obviously, Holland have got some good picks. And we can go through them another day. But you got Nathan Ake, Virgil van Dijk, straight away to 2 Dutch defenders who are going to be making appearances. Who are their forwards nowadays? Got Memphis Depay, I guess. He was quite popular in Euro 2020. We'll go into more depth on all this, I keep saying, but obviously. Slovenia, Denmark, the other side of Group C. So Slovenia, where have they got? Played 13, won 9. So not bad, that. Drawn 2, lost 2. They have beaten, actually. They're one of the few teams in the last 2 years to have beaten Portugal. And we're going to come to Portugal's record, which is pretty good. But they actually beat Portugal. And they also beat a very good USA team as well. So Slovenia can beat that kind of... They can rise up to beat a team that is considered better than them. They're that sort of team that has that ability to do that. Now, Denmark, let's move to them. Played 12, won 8, drawn 2, lost 2. They have had easy fixtures, though. So, again, I actually think Slovenia might win this. I don't know why. I've got a gut feeling. I'm going to go... No, let's go 2-2. A draw. 2-2. Denmark will sort of galvanise themselves and get going. Okay. 2-2. Let's go with that. Serbia, England. Right, I don't need to talk about England. We all know about that. But Serbia's record, just so we know who we're playing, played 13. So they played one more than most countries. Don't know why. Won 9. Won 7, drawn 2, and lost 4. Right, so Serbia, obviously... Mitrovic is still their main guy, even though he's over in Saudi. He scored quite a few goals in the build-up to this. He scored 2 the other day for them, not the other day, a couple of months ago in the last game. He scored a brace. He's still doing the bits for them, and he's always a handful. So our English defenders are going to kind of know a little bit about him after his time in the Premier League. Are they going to be able to nullify him? I think yes. England's defence is pretty solid. I know it's not the best defence we've ever had, particularly at centre-back, and who knows who's going to play where. Is it going to be Kyle Walker at right-back? Is it going to be Trent? Is it going to be Trippier? Is it going to be Reece James? Who knows? But I'm going to go for 2-0 to England. I just think it's one of these games that, we should win. We should cruise through, really. No, actually, do you know what? I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1. Mitrovic will probably score for them. Romania, Ukraine. Romania. So, Romania, let's have a look at their record. Played 12, won 6, drawn 5, lost 1. They drew against Switzerland. Easy fixtures, the rest of them, I think, basically. So, they've got through. Romania, if you remember, were Romania the team in 98, was it, where they all bleached their hair? Great fun. That's all I know about Romanian football team. I'll find out more before we get there. But anyway, there you go. And Ukraine played 11, won 6, drawn 3, lost 2. They drew with Germany, actually, Ukraine, so they got a pretty decent result there. They could be a decent side, They've also got players like Zinchenko, who I think is their captain. But they've got other players, who was that big striker they had in Euro 2020 that everyone bought? Can't remember his name. If you played it, you'll know it. And if you go on the app and you just see his name, as soon as I see it, I'd remember. Yarachuk, Yama something. Yabba dabba doo. I don't know. But I'm going to go with a Ukraine win here. I'm going to go 2-1. Ukraine can be a pretty decent side. And England have a history with Ukraine. They've beaten us quite a few times in the past. Belgium, Slovakia. So, obviously, Belgium kind of out the back end of their... what a horrible expression. Out the back end of their golden generation. But a lot of them are still there. Obviously, Eden Hazard's gone. Probably a few others, I can't remember. But, they've still got... De Bruyne, they've still got Courtois, they've still got... who else have they got? I mean, Lukaku. Lukaku, for Belgium, was the top scorer with 14 goals. He scored 4 in 25 minutes in one match. 14 goals in qualification. He was comfortably the top scorer. I think they're dark horses, I think Belgium... A lot of people in previous tournaments said Belgium are going to win it, Belgium are going to win it. And then when they had their golden generation under Martinez didn't really do it, everyone kind of just... seems to have stopped talking about them. I actually think they've got a good chance in this tournament. I think this is going to be 3-0. Let's change that. Slovakia. So they're playing Slovakia, Belgium, Slovakia. And their record, as I turn the page on my little notebook here. Played 11, won 7, drawn 2, lost 3. Easy group to get through, really. They lost to Portugal twice. So the times when they had the chance to play a better side and do something, they didn't. Although Portugal have been in very good form, as we'll get onto. But yeah, I think Belgium are gonna cruise this. We'll see. Austria, France. So Austria played 12, won 9, drew 2, lost 1. Austria have got a funny one. They beat Turkey 6-1. And Turkey have had some actually pretty good results, as we'll come on to, in beating some bigger teams. But Austria beat them 6-1. They beat Sweden, who are obviously a decent team, who didn't qualify in the end, did they? No, Sweden didn't, did they? Oh, shame. No Alexander Isak. Gutting. They lost to Belgium, so there you go. And they beat Italy semi-recently as well. So they're a bit of a funny one to gauge. But against France in the first game, I think you've just got to say, do you know what? Why not? 1-1. Austria-France 1-1. Let's go for that. Why not? Austria could do it. Come on, Austria. Turkey, Georgia. By the way, France. Sorry, I didn't do France. Played 12, won 9, drawn 1, lost 2. They did. France, I got an interesting run-up into this tournament. They lost to Germany twice, even though Germany haven't been that great themselves. Bizarrely, Germany, when they played France, beat them twice, but then lost to teams like Japan and Colombia and some other teams you'd expect them to beat. Maybe they were rotating. I need to do more research into that. If you know, by the way, if you're French or German, comment below and tell me what's going on with Germany's run into this tournament and France's as well. France did, however, in a rather hilarious game, win 14-0 against Gibraltar. I mean, you could say, well, it's Gibraltar. You know, of course you're going to beat them 14-0. But not many other teams have managed to rack up that many goals past Gibraltar. So that is quite insane. But yes, France, obviously always one of the favourites. The obvious picks, Mbappe and everyone else. Dembele's French, isn't he? And you got a lot of options. France. Giroud is always good in these tournaments, and he's in the squad again. I've seen. So yeah, lots of options. Austria, by the way, who are their options? No idea. I'll find out and let you know in a future video. Turkey and Georgia. So Turkey have got a funny one. Played 12, won 6, drawn 2, lost 4. They beat Germany at one point, and they beat Croatia in that run. So again, this is a team that can step up and beat a team that's considered to be better than them. However, Georgia is probably one of the lowest ranked teams in this tournament. I think they've qualified through the playoffs. I think that's right. They beat Greece in the qualifier on penalties again. But Georgia have a funny record. They beat Mongolia 6-1. Now, all right, it's Mongolia. They lost 7-1 to Spain. But then they beat Thailand 8-0. Bizarre record, right? I mean, I suppose when the difference is Thailand and Mongolia on one side and Spain on the other, the differential of 6-1 and 8-0 and 7-1 the other side is probably about right. Now, the Georgian players, the one you will have heard of is Here we go. I'm going to have to get used to this. Kvaratskhelia, not of Napoli fame. The Georgian Messi, they call him. Very highly rated winger forward for Napoli, who has been linked to a host of huge clubs. He's already at a big club in Napoli, but, linked to moves to the Premier League and stuff like that for crazy fees. Very, very, very good player. He is their talisman. I'm not sure he takes penalties, though, interestingly. But I think he's £7 million in the game. I did look. And I remember thinking, I don't think he does take penalties. I remember thinking, if he was on pens as well, I'd probably get him. Because who knows what Georgia will do. They will not be favourites. They'll be favourites to finish bottom of the group. But it's going to be an interesting one. I did watch all their goals from qualifying. And, there's some good goals in there. And there seems to be a striker who gets a few of their goals. So I will do more research into that. But, Turkey, Georgia. What's the score going to be? Do you know what? I think it's probably Turkey going to win it 3-1. And lastly, for match day 1, and for commenting on these clubs, Portugal versus the Czech Republic. Now, Portugal's record: played 12, won 11, drawn none, and lost 1. And the game they lost, crikey, what was it? I just mentioned it earlier. I think it was Turkey. Wasn't it Turkey? No, it wasn't Turkey. Hang on, I'll forward this bit. I don't know who it was. I'll work it out later. I can't bother to do the editing to do that. So comment below. Who did Portugal lose to? But anyway, point is, they're in great form, right? They are in great form. Cristiano Ronaldo was second top scorer, I think, or third top scorer in the qualifiers. Yes, even at however old he is, 39, is he 40, whatever he is still banging in the goals at international level. Bruno Fernandes as well got 6. Now, I'm really tempted to have both Ronaldo and Fernandes in my team, but that's a lot of money. I think Fernandes is 9 million and Ronaldo is 10 or something. So that's 19 million down the drain straight away. But their first game against Czech Republic is quite tasty. I mean, they're in such good form. They've actually kept 9 clean sheets in those 12 games as well. They've scored 43 goals, 3.58 per game average. I mean, yes, they're easier fixtures at that stage, but their squad is so good, Portugal. Bruno Fernandes, Cancelo, Ronaldo, Diaz, what's his name in goal? The keeper, Sarr, is it? Bernardo Silva, João Felix. It goes on and on and on, right? So Portugal are a team to watch. Again, dark horses. I wouldn't be surprised if they won the tournament. And in fact, they're my dark horse shout if you're interested. Portugal, not Belgium, Portugal. But Czech Republic, what have they done? Played 12, won 7, drawn 4, lost 1. They've only lost 1. They beat Norway, who are a decent side. I know they haven't qualified, but Erling Haaland and Odegaard. Although, actually, to be fair, Norway haven't been great, so that's not that impressive. And they drew with Poland. They can get good results against teams that have qualified. But I think Portugal will be too much for them. And in fact, I think it's going to be 4-0. I think after the first round of fixtures, here's my prediction, everyone will be going, wow, Portugal are good. I think they've got a chance. Well, I'm saying it now beforehand, so there you go. Right, so that is match day 1. That is my predictions. I wonder what yours are. Comment below with how yours differ. I'm not going to, on screen, go through all the rest because that's going to be tedious and boring for you. But let's just take a quick break and I'll come back. So there you go. There's my match day one predictions. Hopefully that was helpful in some sense, even if it just gave you an idea of who's playing who in match day one and who to target. It wasn't super in detail, but at this stage, don't need to be. And I think I've decided what I'm going to do with it, by the way, because I'll leave them for now, and then before match day 2 comes around, I'll do my predictions of them, given what we've learned in match day 1. That works well, right? That's a good piece of content. Once again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and put the notification bell on. There's going to be plenty of videos now the Premier League, particularly now the Premier League has ended and FPL seasons and mini-leagues are all done, which I know a lot of you play. We're going to be focusing on Euro 2024. The next video we've got coming should have a content creator on doing their predictions. Not quite like I just did mine, but in terms of who's going to be the dark horse, who's going to be the top scorer, and some other questions like that. And we'll be getting some ideas on who they think are the budget picks and the good picks to be going for. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. If you're listening on the podcast, please 5-star it. Please tell your friends. Start those mini leagues. Tell people about our content. This is the place to be for Euro 2024 content this summer. Don't know what else to say other than see you next time. Follow us on Twitter. Follow me. Leave any comments below and questions, and I'll get back to you on them. See you next time.